every Wednesday at 5:30. Sandy Sheffer, President of Democratic Women's Club of Greater Broward. I'm here with, like I said, every Wednesday, we're here talking about race, the races, politics, current events, all of those different things that's going on. This week has been extra for like all of us, right? We're going into week 2 of the Chauvin trial. I'm doing better this week. Last week was hard. Yeah, it was really, really hard. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about SB 90 that's going through the Florida Senate. They're trying to restrict voting in Florida too. If they know what we know, they won't leave that alone. But okay. All right. So we're talking
about how that goes.
It is Autism Awareness Month. Yes, it is. Our other co-host, VP Calibra, Jacobs Reed, can't make it today, and she's the one who usually takes the lead on that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Find a walk. I don't know if they're really walking these days. A lot of the stuff is virtual. Definitely donate some money to Autism Speaks. Contact your rep, your state reps, U.S. reps, all of those people, and tell them to fund autism research programs. Those are all important. So we're doing that, and we have some losses, some serious condolences that have to go out. Narnika talked about that, so we're gonna, we may just take a moment of silence.
I think we should. It's been a rough week. We lost a great congressman, and as of recently, yesterday, we lost a wonderful legal analyst commentator for networks as CNN, MSNBC, HLN. A beautiful Black woman who is Haitian descent, and an attorney, a brilliant mind, very young. So we will do a moment of silence for those two great giants that we lost this week. It's been a rough week, as Sandra said. I'm Narnie Grant, your co-host of Races and Races. As you see, we're missing one person, and VP Calibra will be back next week, but we will hold down the fort and go into our pay our respects first and foremost, and then we'll get into some of the from Mr. Let's get into our people first. Why don't you talk about Congressman Hastings, who just passed?
So we lost the giant. We lost the giant yesterday. Represented Alcee Hastings. He was actually one of the first Black attorneys appointed to the federal bench. He was a undergraduate, Fisk University, HBCU, went to FAMU Law School. That was the original FAMU Law School, I think, before Florida State took it, but I didn't say all that. But, he was a graduate of the original Florida State Law School, pioneer civil rights activist, sued some of the, just did some really good work for the people of South Florida. He was a judge in Broward County. I think he was appointed by Ruben Askew. He was appointed to the federal bench by President Jimmy Carter, who's still with us. So that just tells you how long he's been part of the legal profession. I think he graduated from law school like in 1963, before I was born, believe that. And just did a lot of great work. I think he was elected 15 times or something for his seat, 23rd district, to represent, the people of Florida. Just did great work, just a giant. He's up there with legends like
John Lewis
and Cummings, John Lewis, just these brothers was doing a lot of great work. So it's a big loss. It's gonna cause some political stuff in South Florida, because and that's one of the things, right? So we spend our lives working hard, doing all of this stuff, and I'm telling you, man, like when you see when people pass away, like how soon folks try to replace you, right? I mean, they'll never be able to replace him, because it was just such a special person, but the work of the people has to continue, right? And business goes on. And so now people are vying for that seat already. There's just talk about that. The governor has to set a special election, because this is, I think fortunately for us, this isn't one of those things where he can just appoint somebody, right? because we really
That's
want enough
key. That's
Democrats to go
key.
up, right? Because had this been one of our state senators, the governor would have been able to choose the replacement. So since it's one of the U.S. representative, they actually have to schedule a special election. And so we'll get candidates who really want to do the work of the people to come forth and, they got to put their best foot forward and try to finish out his term. So they won't, because these seats are for every 2 years. So basically what they'll have an opportunity to do is finish out his term, and then they would have to run again in 2022 if they want to maintain that seat. But I think who's ever able to, maybe come out of this one successful or victorious, they may have a really good chance of having that seat in 22. So this is definitely going to be an interesting couple of months. Thankfully that in the U.S. House, the Democrats still have a bit of an edge. So that loss we're not gonna. The business in D.C. will continue because we do have the majority there. But I'm sure people definitely want to mourn his loss. But at the same time, I think they're wanting to figure out how long it's going to take in order to have a replacement, because he just started his term. I think they got sworn in like January the 3rd, which is less than 100 days ago, right?
And not only that, and remember the committees that he's in charge of. There's a couple committees he's chair of and whatever, and so you want to be able to kind of. Unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. Life still goes on, but we want to be able to take the baton that Congressman Hastings has left behind and continue on with his work. And I'm pretty sure, and I'm almost positive, I know he would want us to do so. It's a huge, huge loss for our community, someone who worked tirelessly and valiantly for us. And so we want to take this time to show him respect and show our deepest condolences to his family and his friends who love him dearly, and know that we are mourning with you. We're going to transition into talking about Midwin Charles. Midwin Charles is of Haitian descent, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, my hometown. Whoop, whoop. That's why I love her so much. She earned her bachelor's degree from Syracuse University and later studied law at American University, Washington College of Law in DC, where she was an article editor for the American University Law Review. She later founded the Midwin Charles and Associates in New York. She had her own law firm. She offered political and pop culture commentary for networks such as CNN, HLN, MSNBC, Bloomberg TV, and TV One. This took me by surprise because she literally posted something about like 2 weeks ago saying she wasn't feeling well, and that because she does cocktails on Friday on her Instagram Live. She's been giving a lot of commentary lately since we've been going through this Chauvin trial. And so, she was fine. Her family made the statement on all her social media platforms, but did not give a cause of death. And we want to respect their privacy at this time. However, this just brings to light that how life is just so short. This woman was only 47 years old and was at the pinnacle of her life. And it's important that you tell the people you love, your friends, your family, that you love them. It's important that you take that extra time to just say, hey, I want to say, I'm checking on you. I miss you. Because you just never know. Mm-hmm. That just makes it more important to me that I take the time to reach out to friends. And that's what I've been doing. Just sending texts here and there. Hey, just checking in on you. Want to make sure you're all right. It doesn't have to be a long conversation, but just let people in your life know that you love them and that you care for them and that they mean to you, because we don't know what other people are going through. And it's always important that you take that opportunity, because you just never know. So we sent our condolences to the Midwin Charles family. We sent our condolences to Alcee Hastings' family, Congressman Alcee Hastings. And we know that this is a tough road, but we are a resilient people. We are people who persevere, and we will not let their legacy or what their foundation and what they've laid out for others go in vain. And so we will always be in the spirit of them as we continue our lives, and make sure that we try to make them proud somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when I saw the, because I post on Facebook, but I'm not one of those people that post all the time. But when I saw that, I was just like, oh my goodness,
Right?
because my best friend was a journalist, and I say was because she's since passed too, and she was also young. So when I say was, it's not that because we're not friends anymore. It's just that she's also passed away, and so I actually had the opportunity to go to the National Association of Black Journalists, Black Journalists Association. I've actually gone to their conventions because my friends are journalists. So I've been to probably 4 of them. I've been to the one in Philly, Atlanta, Orlando, Kiss Me. So I've been, and so I just happen to know way more journalists than most people should. And I remember when you talked about she was on HLN, my friend worked for Court TV called True TV, and she used to do a lot of the, that's when they used to do the trials on TV. Mm-hmm. It was a network completely dedicated just to trials, high-profile trials. And Midwin would come on and do commentary. And I remember, she actually called me to do it a few times, but I was pregnant with the children, so we're talking back 2008, 2009, and Midwin used to go in, and that's how long I've known about her, you know what I mean? And so and at that time she was probably in her 30s, right? Mm-hmm. So, in her 30s, and she was just young, dynamic, just always doing that work, just very professional, and on and on and on. And then, for me to just I'm going through, because I read more of my news than I watch. And so I'm going through reading, because I try to watch, I try to read different newspapers or whatever media outlets. I try to diversify what it is that I read. And I saw that, I'm like, yo, this got to be a mistake.
I didn't believe it at first either, because I was like, wait, what?
This can't be right. Yeah. So
I even tagged you on it, because I was like, there's no way. This must be a mistake. This must be somebody must have hijacked her social media. There's no way. I just could not believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So I saw that, and I was just like, yo, this, and it just, it just really just makes you realize how just precious, and how you just don't know, you just don't know, right? We're here. Every day we wake up, it's all God's grace, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna get in, make this a whole religious show or anything like that, but it's really just by grace that, we're here, and we should be thankful and everything like that. But that's a really big loss, particularly, if just anybody losing someone that's important to them is a really big loss. And then again, and for her family, I'm sure it's even more difficult. But because we see them on TV, and she had one of those personalities that kind of just came through, so that you just feel like them, like, yo, that's just my friend, like, I got, that type of thing. And it just really, really, really is just a big loss to the to Black journalists, Black media.
There's not many of them, and there's not that many.
American community, just everybody.
And there's not many of us in that realm, right? In that space. And then every journalist every Black journalist we know came out and showed their support and their outpouring of condolences, but it's not that many. You can count on your fingers.
Yeah.
How many is in that realm? So it's a great loss for that whole group community. It's a great loss, And so when you have someone like that, it's important to always highlight them, and just be, just be grateful for the time you have. Because listen, I don't want to be like, selfish, not selfish, but don't want to be ungrateful, because the time we did have with her was very, she did a lot with the time that she had, and impacted a lot of people. And she's loved by many. So I'm just grateful for that little bit of time.
Yeah.
And she was interactive, because even when you interact with her on social media, she would respond. She was never the one to be like, oh, I'm too big to speak to you. She was just so down to earth, so kind. And so it's a great loss.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely felt that. We definitely felt the loss of Midwin Charles, and and Alcee Hastings, and we're gonna see, and we're gonna talk a little bit about who might be trying to run for that seat, right?
Well, there's a whole transition now.
Because even yesterday, like I was talking to a friend of mine that live in one of my law school classmates in Jacksonville, and I was like, yeah, and then she said, yeah. I was like, I think this person interested. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna drop $250 in their campaign account. There are people that's already talking about depending on who's running.
Well, prior to Congressman Hastings passing away, Barbara Sharif, who was mayor of Broward County, had already filed. Because as you know, the election is in 2022. So she's within that window to file. And so, and I heard through the grapevine, there's quite a few that list is long. So, I got a friend of mine sent me a text message and said she's pulling out her popcorn. Because she wants to see.
Actually Wikipedia, right? Like we finna do numbers.
Oh, wait, Wikipedia got info?
Wikipedia right now, because Wikipedia says that candidates, they got a list of who declared and who the potentials are, right?
Oh, okay. Well, list them, sis.
These are the Democratic ones. So Wikipedia says, this is what Wikipedia said. It ain't what I said. This is what Wikipedia said, okay? So Wikipedia said these are the declared people. Sheila Sheffield McCormick, right? She ran, I think,
she ran before, right?
She ran before in 18 and 20, and I know her. We've done some events together.
I know her too. A formidable candidate, formidable.
Yes, and she ran in 2020, and got about 30% of the votes. So she has that name recognition. She's one of the ones that have declared. We also have our state senator from the 33rd district, Perry E. Thurston Jr.
Yeah. All right then. So, right on.
So one of our I'm a fan of this young man. Stephen Meza actually ran against him for his Senate seat, for his state Senate seat in 2020, right? So Perry Thurston's interested in that seat, and it also has Barbara Sharif, like you said, Broward County Commissioner since 2010. And former acting mayor of Broward County is also declared. These are the declared candidates. Then they have potential. Okay, so there's a list of potential candidates. They have Bobby Powell, state senator for 30th district. I've heard the name before. I think that's like in Palm Beach.
I've heard the name before too.
Dale Holness, mayor of Fort Lauderdale. He's potential.
Oh, that became interesting. I'm sorry. What? Who? Dale
Holness, mayor of Fort Lauderdale, is a potential candidate. And then we have Omari Hardy, state rep from the 80th district. And so Omari just became a state rep. From Del Rey. Yeah, so that's a potential. And then the other potential I thought was interesting too, I found interesting, is Chevron Jones, state senator for the 35th district. He was actually a state rep I think he turned out of his state rep position, and he ran for a Senate seat for District 35 and run. So those are the potentials according to Wikipedia, not me. Wikipedia said that. And there's one Republican candidate that declared. It's Gregory Musselwhite, but I think that person also ran in 2020. I think that was the person in 2020. All
right. So let's just be honest. The Republican can go ahead and have several seats because that's not going to work.
And the reason why we say that, because it's a heavily Democratic district. That place is blue.
Blue in the blue. Okay, so that's that. But we have some great commentary on the live, so I got to read this because this is.
Listen, I'm gonna let you read it because I gotta stay kind of like objective. You know what I'm saying?
I'm being objective. I'm just reading what the people wrote. These not my thoughts. Not my thoughts. So Carla Cody said Barbara Sharif already presented. That's right. She already filed. Ms. Rose stated that she's you know how I feel. Well, maybe she don't want me to read that. So she's saying, Carla Cody said, at least it's the list is ridiculously long. Then she said, one of y'all should declare. I said, no, thank you.
I got skeletons in my closet, but I don't want nobody in my business.
Ms. Rose says, let's let's show respect and have Mr. Hastings laid to rest first before launching our campaign.
They launched it.
Then she also stated
Dr. Chauvin, they've launched. Okay, they have.
She said Hardy has great potential. She said Powell is very popular. She said Sharif ain't got nothing for Thurston. Listen, the names, the potentials, and the ones that have declared, to me, is quite contentious. This is my issue. My issue is why have I not all these Black people have a conversation and just let one good one go out there and try to take it? I'm just a little bit perturbed by that. We need to have a conversation. Right? And then everybody agrees that you're the best person for the job. We're going to put all our support behind you and we're good to go.
I'm just donating to everybody campaign. I'm just letting y'all know.
And that's the thing. I like everybody. I like everybody.
I'm not doing it. I'm going to pick a few, but I'm not giving everybody money. I'm just letting you know right now. And I told you I was talking to somebody yesterday about it, and that person's name not even on the list. The person that they think is going to run for this seat. I'm not calling nobody's name because they have not said anything publicly. And like Dr. Chauvin said, it's just too soon, brother man. There ain't even no services set up yet, and we're already talking about who's about to take his job. So,
wait. Carla Cody said, I think Chris Smith may make a run for it. I'm not sure who that is. I've heard the name. The name is out there. I've heard the name. I'm just not sure who that is. And Miss Rose said. This is good. Listen. Someone said, what does it say that? Sharif ain't got nothing on Wholeness or Thurston.
Well, so I live in Miramar, and I think she does too. Or at least I see her around here a lot, right? So she's popular, at least where I live, right? So she's extremely popular. I remember when she was running.
Barbara Sharif?
Yes, Barbara Sharif is very popular. Okay. I remember when she was running back in like 2010, she used to have like her name on the side of the car, and she was just like everywhere. So, she's popular.
She the army of one. She like that. She like that.
One fan. She is her number one fan. I tell you.
You gotta be. You gotta be
number one fan.
but let's see, because if Sheila has declared and Barbara has declared, okay, so we have two women, and the rest are all men, because I haven't heard of another woman running. Yeah. Hey.
And if Thurston run and wins, now that opens up a state Senate seat that I'm not sure how those get filled. Are there going to be elections for those, or does the governor?
Well, in the beginning of our show, you mentioned that the governor would do the state Senate.
That was the U.S. Senate. What I was talking about, he has a state Senate seat, so I'm not sure what the procedure would be, that if he did in fact win, how they would replace him in.
I would assume that it would be. Would it be an appointment or an election?
That's what I don't know. We need a person who does like government and understand Florida politics to explain all of that.
If any of those people are online, please drop us a note so we can be clear.
One of the four state senators is victorious in taking this seat. Like,
the names that you mentioned, and just the names that you mentioned, and this is my personal opinion, Narnie Grant, it has nothing to do with Sandra or anyone else. To me, it would look like it's a gladiator battle, right? Because I feel like everybody that you mentioned are very, strong in their own right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's going to be very interesting. I would love to see how these, if and when they have debates.
Alpha males and alpha females.
Right, because that's what you're talking about. You're not talking about, ain't nobody passive in that list that you mentioned at all. At all.
And they are not going to back down. And you know how you about having this conversation, they're going to be like, listen, I'm the only person that deserves this seat. So it's going to be, I don't know, it might be difficult to get.
I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, and I'm going to be honest. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I really want to see how this turns out.
Get the popcorn ready?
Listen, I'm getting the popcorn. I'm really excited. Like, this is better than any reality show ever. Yeah, I'm really interested in to see how this is going to, and because whoever whoever gets the seat, this is a nonstop campaigning because you're going to run into the next cycle, right?
And I think the people who are interested in 22, I mean, I don't know what their financial situation is, but it seems if like you're able to get it now with this little bit amount of time to kind of get people to vote for you, you might have a better shot at getting it for you to get it in 22. Because it might be different. Like you win now. I mean, if they do a good job and
well, I'm not too sure. You know, we've been, you know, this last cycle with the horror we had, I've noticed that voters are very picky now. Like they are like, you know, they're starting to pay attention to things. They're starting to look up information. I don't know. I'm just saying.
And you're right. You could be right, but I think if you can pull off a win, because they're only going to have a matter of months to like get money, get people to know who they are.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, you know, what we've seen already, those folks already have like a lot of name recognition.
Sure.
So it's not like I mean, I know I've heard the name. I know I've seen a picture of him. I think he's out of Palm Beach. I'm not sure like that part, but all of them, they have really big name recognition. So if they got a fan base,
there's just a few of them that I think that might be like a little bit ambiguous and people are like, who that is? But for the most part, you got big gladiator names, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that makes it so interesting is these big Holness, Sharif, Person. Powell, because apparently Powell is popular. Yeah. Carla said, who gets to appoint someone because whoever is appointed is probably going to be the front runner. The governor appoints, right? I don't know if the governor appoints.
No, not for Hastings' seat. No. Not for this. It has to be a special election. Mm-hmm. So maybe with the state ones seats that may get vacated depending on who wins, then there may be an appointment process there. But in terms for the U.S. rep, no, they have to. The DeSantis has to schedule a special election. So what the real question is, how quick he gonna do that? You know what I mean? Because that might not be a priority for him. So.
And that's another thing. That may be a an issue. Because he just all doing stuff willy-nilly. He not even like running his own spot right.
He's worried about the wrong things.
He sure is, and he got to go in 2022. I hope anybody who's out there, y'all need to find somebody to replace him. Congressman Hastings' seat is important, but that governor right there, that takes precedence.
The U.S. Senate seat that Marco Rubio holds is also
that takes precedence.
That's up in 22 also.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with the names that you mentioned. Yeah. I'm comfortable that I feel like each person they can bring their own sauce to the cookout and can hang with the best. So I'm comfortable with maybe 3 out of the ones you mentioned. If they get it, I'm comfortable with that.
But at least they're all already elected officials. They understand government process, all that type of stuff too. So at least it's not somebody who doesn't have. Well, I mean, I think one of the people there don't have political experience. I mean, they have experience running, but not holding any seats. But I think everybody else have held a seat already in the declared list.
I don't remember the name that you mentioned, so I can see who you're talking about.
No, we ain't
Right. You're right. You're right. That's true. But we'll see.
He probably has to be based on a timeline deadline. Oh yeah, so she's talking about DeSantis. He probably has a timeline. And
he better he better use the timeline right. Yeah, he better use it right. Yeah, we ain't got time for the football.
I hope they put him on the timeline because knowing him, he'll do a Mitch McConnell on us.
Death Santis, because I'm not gonna call him by his government name. Death Santis, because that's who he is. Okay, you better do right by us. We ain't playing with you. Taking your little HB1 to the Senate and whatever, trying to suppress us and not let us talk. Not today, boo-boo. Not today. But okay.
And so talking about like possible election stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's a SB 90.
Yes.
Florida. They trying to restrict voters again. Right? Apparently these states are not learning from what's happening in Georgia right now, right? Mm-hmm. So Georgia, they want to lead the pack, right? And then they started with the nonsense.
They want to be special.
Special in a different kind of way, right? So they wanted to lead the pack with the voting rights foolishness, right? So they go and sign this bill restricting
in secret, like a bunch of thieves.
Yeah, it's so
behind closed doors.
Water. They
doing mafia transactions.
They getting rid of voting boxes. You know, they don't want you to vote. There's like you can vote either on Saturday or Sunday, but not both, right?
Whatever.
And we know that is a straight
garbage. Straight foolery is what that is.
Right. So that's a straight attack on souls to the polls, right? Because a lot of African-American churches, after a Sunday service, you know, they used to get a whole bunch of people together and they used to just go vote on Sunday. So that's one of Georgia's efforts to like stop that from happening, right? So Arizona was going to do it, and then they saw what was happening in Georgia. They was like, well, you know, we go on this one, right? So Arizona got a little sense. Texas, they're just like, well, we going to try to do it anyway. And then, you know, American Airlines and all the other big companies in Texas were like, I think y'all want to think twice about that because these people out here talking about boycotting our businesses. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and just let them people vote so they can continue to spend this money because apparently they realize how important voting is right now and they realize that the power of their dollars. And they're like, okay, we're going to hit them where it hurts or where it matters to them. And that's the economics. So Delta came out with a statement saying like, oh, listen, Georgia.
Too little, too late. Too little, too late, Delta. Too little, too late.
A statement saying, yeah, we don't want to do this. But apparently there was some tricky little memo that came out that said Delta kind of already knew what they were going to do.
Yes, they did. That's why I said, man, please. Delta can go have several seats and you will never see me on their flights, ever. I won't step foot on there. You know what? I don't even, and listen, that was my last hope because I don't do, what's that one? JetBlue or not JetBlue, the other one. Spirit. I don't do Spirit. So Delta was my next line of defense, but you don't mess that up too. So
So they're trying to do this in Florida, that SB 90, that I think they're going to start talking about it maybe tomorrow or something like that. Is that what you're saying? Right, tomorrow. So what's that? FloridaChannel.org? The FloridaChannel.org?
Oh, the FloridaChannel.org. We talked about that last week. It's important, y'all. Y'all need to jump on that state.
How they try to explain the nonsense. But this is another thing that they're failing to realize, right? Is that, you know, if people did not know that elections matter, 2016 taught us that it did, right?
Did you catch a clue that the 2016 that your vote mattered? Did you catch a clue that your vote matters? Okay.
Yes. 2016 showed us that it mattered because we were like, wait, I thought the other person was going to vote and I didn't need to go vote. And then look what happened because I didn't vote. So, right? So in 2020, everybody was just like, check this out. We out here. We going to vote. I'm going to stand in line for 13 hours. I don't care. I'm going to vote so we know. And because, you know, especially Georgia, Georgia is blue. I love you, Georgia. And because Georgia, you know, realized it, them people came out, they were like, it was what, 5-6 million people that voted, you know, for the...
We did early voting, honey. That you know what? GOP thought they were going to catch us with the early voting, but we like, we're going to take advantage of that. We'll take it.
Mail, early voting, all of that.
We were like...
That. And then they needed to show up again in January for the runoffs, right?
Yeah.
They showed up 3-4 million deep.
And showed out.
And now the United States Senate is a tie. It's a tie, but is blue because we got, you know, we have the president.
Manchin need to come. Manchin, if you're going to be Democrat, Manchin, and if you hear this and somebody send it to you, if you're going to be Democrat, be Democrat. They ain't got time for you to be. You can't be lukewarm. The Bible says you can't be lukewarm. We just vomit you out our mouths. You got to pick a side, bro. Pick a side.
So I think Manchin just got a little popular, and so he feeling a little important, and so that's why he just everything that's coming up, he's trying to act like, oh, you know, I'm not going to support this because, you know, he's getting something in return.
He just vexes my spirit. But okay, I digress.
Yeah. All right.
I digress. So we'll see. I mean, listen, Carla had asked, you know, what is the percentage of Black people in Florida? She said she read somewhere 17%. Carla, you are correct. It's 16.9%. Call it 17% Black in Florida. But that little 17%, and let me take away little. That 17% is a strong 17%. That 17% will make a difference between a Democrat or Republican getting into a seat, right? Mm-hmm. And so I am confident that 17% ain't playing no games in 2022 when it comes down to removing Rubio and DeSantis. I wish there was a little name we can have for Rubio, but I got to think about it for a little bit. Come up with it. Maybe I can do a hashtag. But anyway,
I forgot Trump had a name for him. I don't remember what it was though. He used to call him something. Because he had a name for everybody. So yeah, so we got they
so we'll see. I mean, we'll see. So I'm assuming in the next couple of months we're gonna find out about the special election, and as always, we'll bring the most up-to-date information. Hopefully, we'll have some candidates on trying to talk about what they're gonna do for us. And we'll see in that. So the SB 91 that we're talking about, our new elected supervisor of election. This supervisor of election. I like him. I like the fact that he's really kind of reaching out to the people. Yeah, Joe Scott is like, listen, on his social media page, like, y'all need to call these people. Don't let them do this. I mean, like, this is a supervisor of election that I haven't seen in quite some years, who's very vocal about the integrity of voting. So I'm excited about him and how he's pushing things. I want everybody to support him and get on Team Joe Scott's team and try to get this, make sure that our voices are counted. He is not letting Broward sink to swim. He's going to be, we here, and I'm going to make sure we get it all right. So I'm excited about him. So go on thefloridachannel.org, reach out to your state senators, reach out to your representatives, reach out to your congressmen. I'm telling you, they listen. They just don't have enough people coming at them. We need to come at them full force. That's it.
One of the things they say, they're like, well, I haven't heard anything. Ain't nobody called me. Nobody said there was a problem.
They say that all the time. They say that all the time, and I steady be sending emails. So, like, email, it don't take that much. Everyone has a phone anyway. You can email like this. Send them an email. All their information is on that channel. You can find representatives on that channel, who's speaking and who's doing what. Just send out, just talk about it. How they're taking away the conveniences and not even the conveniences. They're taking away for people who work Monday through Friday, living from paycheck to paycheck. They're taking away their votes by not providing them an avenue to vote, so it's more convenient for them, so they don't have to really kind of leave their work and leave their job. And this is all voter suppression. No matter how they slice the dice and however they pack it up and put a little bow on it, that's what that is, voter suppression. So make sure you all...
The real big lie was that there was no big lie, right? Because they're talking about there was cheating and discrepancy in the 22...
No. And mind you, this is based on their claims, GOP's claims, that there was massive fraud during the election, and you've had attorneys and organizations and elected officials time and time again, even their own GOP people were like, there's no fraud. Like, what are you talking about? Let it go. So these 43 states, including Florida, coming up with all these suppression type bills, voter for suppression type bills or whatever. And this is all, and that is their MO. This is how they operate. The minute they realize something they put in place ain't working no more, or they want to pull the rug from under you. That's how they roll.
Yeah, they change the rules in the middle of the game.
You running a race and they move the post stop all the way to the end. You reached the winning spot, but they moved it.
Just a little.
But that's how they rolling.
Yeah.
But let's get into this.
Is that they just really piss people off, right?
They sure did.
There's some people like, oh, so this what you doing? Okay. So to me, that's what it sounds like. They were like, oh, so you gonna try me?
And let's be clear, Black people have maneuvered through the minutia for 400 plus years, right? We've figured out a way. We always figure out a way to maneuver ourselves to make sure that we get what we need, right? It's just, I think it's just exhausting for us to constantly keep doing that. But this is the cards that we're dealt with, and that's what we have to do, right? So I'm confident that we will get around this minutia, and whatever you try to put, what's that saying? It says, whatever you meant for evil, God meant it for good. So whatever you think you're trying to do, good luck with that. Okay. Good luck with that. So we're going to transition into, this took a lot of my soul, child. We're going to have to transition into this Chauvin trial. Woo, Lord. Okay, so last week was rough.
This also is about election matters too, right?
It does.
Election matters too, because
we will connect the dots.
It all connects the dots, because who you elect to be your mayor, your governor, your mayor of your state, your governor, your state attorney, all of that. They're the ones who sometimes have something to do who the chief of police gonna be. They're the ones who decide who's gonna prosecute cases and how they're gonna do that. So all of this stems to elections matter. And
it does. Carla Cody said a very good quote from Frederick Douglass, and it says, power concedes nothing. Mm-hmm. So we have to stay vigilant, because they ain't gonna just give us the power. We gonna have to take it.
That's right.
Now, listen, I sent you something when we were watching the HB1 rule, when they were talking about it in the House. Mm-hmm. And I said, man, it's so divided up there. And I said, you could clearly see the line is in the sand. And what did you text me? You said, they're not going to share power. We're going to have to take it.
We have to take it.
We're just going to have to take it.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that. Okay. I'm all for it, honey. I'm all for taking it. So switching gears to the Chauvin trial. Now, I had to take some self-care. Mm-hmm. And not watch it for the last 2 days, because I'm telling you, I had to take 2 mental health days, because it was taking everything up out of me. Okay. The defense is just abhorrent at best. Okay.
When she says that, she means that he's just kind of like a disgusting person. He's like that dude.
I use that word because there was some profanity coming, and I had to find something. I had to transition real quick. When I tell you that my soul was depleted last week, my soul was depleted. I told you the last week when I spoke, I said I was on the couch crying with my daughter. My soul was depleted. When I'm saying deplete, it was debilitating. It was exhausting. I was physically tired. And it was just too much. And then just to see the defense try to flip a narrative and blame the victim, it infuriated me. Last week I was depressed and exhausted. This week I was enraged. I go from being helpless to being incessant. If there was a stronger word for enraged, I was incessantly enraged. Like I at some point I felt like I could have done something to somebody. That's how upset I was. And so we talk about it. Talking about it kind of helps a little bit, but the more you talk about it, the more ridiculous the defense is, the more angry you become. Mm-hmm. I just had to take a step back. I had to take 2 days off. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then the day that I decided to take off was the day when his boss came in, the one who fired him the next day, who fired Chauvin the next day, and basically said, like, this is not protocol. This is nowhere near protocol. I'm glad I took the day off and I didn't listen to him say that. I'm glad that I just got bits and pieces. I'm glad I did that, because had I sat there and watched it for the full time that I usually do, child.
So I have to give a shout out to YouTube, right? Because I don't watch it live. That's because, it's like 5-7 hours a day, during the day. Mm-hmm. We gotta earn this money.
Yeah, they do.
So we don't get kicked out of our places of residence, right? So I have to work all day, even though I don't work all day, but I work a couple hours a day teaching classes and everything like that. So I watch what I can. And then luckily, again, like I said, YouTube, but I think I've been watching it on NBC News, right? Because they have they said it's day this, and you can actually like fast forward through it, go through the breaks or whatever. So I've seen actually all of it. But today, I'm still on the expert witness for today, so I haven't seen all of today's witnesses, but I've seen...
You saw yesterday's. You saw yesterday.
Yeah, I saw yesterday. I've seen all of it up until today. I've only seen like maybe an hour into today, and I haven't gotten through the rest of it because, Wednesdays are my busy days.
So let's talk about yesterday, because I didn't see yesterday.
So I wanted to make a point, because you were talking about the attorney, so I wanted to make a point. And I think I'm going to try to get Jara McLawrence, if you hear me, I'm going to need you to come and talk to us about how the defense is doing, right? because I was a public defender before. I do like defense work, but I do immigration work. And I'm like, and I'm real good. I was like, yo, I'm happy I'm a defense attorney because, you get to stand up for those who don't have folks standing up for them and on and on and on. But I have to tell you, this lawyer that's representing Derek Chauvin, listen, and that's the thing with Black people, right? We always think it's a reflection of us, right? Because I don't got nothing to do with this dude. I don't know him, never worked with him. We're not friends or nothing like that. But but since I usually classify myself as a defense attorney, I'm like, this dude out here giving defense attorneys bad names, and I'm kind of like in my feelings about it, right?
Right.
So, but I'm gonna have to. That's me. I'm gonna work on that. But what I do have to say about him is like that man. And and the other thing that this also made me see is that I see why people, people that are not lawyers think lawyers are terrible people. Like, right? Like, why we have a bad name? Like, this guy is part of the just because there's a way. Like, I absolutely believe that everybody has a right to have their day in court. Like, so I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Chauvin don't have a right to put on a defense. That's not what I'm saying. I do believe everybody have a right to have their day in court, but there's a way to do it, right? Like that defense attorney, he like all of the isms you could think of, he does all of it. Sexism, ageism, racism, all of it. He just in how he's mounting this defense. Every stereotype, trope, you could think of, he's incorporating that into his defense, right? And then but the most ridiculous thing he does is that he just think people stupid, right? Like, if I was that jury, I would be so offended. I would be so offended that this man thinks I'm this stupid, right? Of like that what he's saying. I'm like, what, you think I didn't see the last video, or I didn't hear what the other dude said, or that you talking about 5 seconds? Like, he literally is showing pictures and clips.
Disrespectful.
5 seconds of a 9-minute and 29-second video to try to be like, see, he had the thigh on his neck, not the knee, and all of this. I'm like, dude, that video was 9 minutes, 29 seconds. If all you could find is 5 seconds of him doing it, okay, and then and that 5 second happening at the tail end when George Floyd may have already been dead for 5 minutes, if that's all you got and you trying to tell me that that's what I need to go with to make a decision, I can't.
Okay, we gotta go to the questions. Because the questions are very controversial.
I can't with him.
All right, as an attorney and you do defense work, okay. So Ms. Rowe says she actually is not upset with the defense attorney. He's doing a good job. He's doing the job that he was paid to do. The evidence left him nothing else to argue. She also said that he's doing a good job arguing a poor case. Okay. Mr. Johnson, Percy Johnson, came on and he says, question, when will Nick Cruz case start? When will Nick Cruz start? When will Nick Cruz case start today? It's been 3 years since Parkland. Minnesota is already prosecuting at least in less than 1 year, is what he's saying. Okay, so there's a couple. I'm gonna say something about Minnesota and then with Florida. So the Cruz case gets complicated. It's a lot of complicated stuff with that. That will eventually come. Part of the reason why it's delayed now is because of COVID. Right, because they're not really doing trials. They're not doing trials, criminal trials, and you can't really do criminal cases via Zoom, and you particularly can't do. I think they're seeking a death penalty in that case, and you definitely can't do a death. Well, I mean, I don't think you should do a death penalty case via Zoom, right? So I think COVID is really part of like what the delay is right now, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me tell y'all something about Minnesota. All right, so if you watch any of the trial, the Chauvin trial, right? And if you've seen some of the video, just look at the video of when the people were in the store, right? Because Nikki and I had this conversation when the people were in the store. Now that was May 25th, 2020. No mask. We were in the thick of COVID. Okay, like if you look at that video, ain't nobody got their mask on. So not one person.
A whole different around there is all I'm gonna say.
A whole different ball game in Minnesota, honey. Okay, a whole different ball game.
Whole different. And plus, Chauvin, he was ready to, to keep, he wasn't asking for no delay. He didn't need no more experts. And sometimes cases take a long time because the defense is the one that's asking for additional time to, get witnesses, get experts, get people to come and testify on their behalf. And then their rules are a little bit different too. Because one of the things he said that was interesting to me is like the expert that the state had in Minnesota, the defense attorney said he had never spoken to him. That wouldn't happen in Florida because you're going to depose, like any witness, the state tells you who that you're going to do depositions before you go into court because you already want to have an idea of what this person is going to say. So they may not have the same type of setup in Minnesota where you get to depose potential witnesses before, so you could already have a sworn statement. And I think they actually don't because like when they're referring to like statements that were previously made, that the defense attorneys using statements about when they were interviewed by the FBI agents or when they were interviewed by another police officer. So those are the statements they're using. So apparently they may have different trial rules so that they don't get to depose witnesses before they come to court. So I think that's the legal part of some of why it happens just a little bit faster there. But I know at least one of the years delay in the Nicholas Cruz case is because of COVID.
So let's see. Ms. Rose said, what else is he supposed to argue? Is one, and I'm not a legal expert.
Right. And when you don't like since I'm making him out to be a villain, that means that he is kind of doing his job. But it is a bad case. He has horrible facts. Like his facts are terrible, right?
Yeah, he said that he's pulling for straws, which we've been saying for the longest.
He has a terrible case. But then, but what's so interesting, right, is as bad as his case is, right, we still kind of think he's not going to get convicted. Not like when I say we, there's some people who actually think that there's a possibility that this man will be found not guilty. Hopefully it won't be for all three counts. But the fact that, we still be like, they can actually still get this wrong, even though there's a 9-minute, 29-second video out there of what he did, right? That's the part. Like that part right there is like the fact that we still think that, they might be able to get one juror over there to say he's not guilty, and then,
And it only takes one.
Just one.
He only needs one.
He just only need one. So the defense attorney doing a good job. I guess he is, right? Because he's trying to confuse people, but he still think people stupid. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, Mr. Johnson says Chauvin is guilty and he's a murderer. I address him as a murderer. He,
and all the drug addiction and all that, and that was.
I don't care if the man was high on cocaine. That means nothing to me. You can't justify, holding someone down on their neck like that, and the person's been big, and you're supposed to render aid. What happened to that?
And that's the part that's, to me, okay, this is why I just can't. He drives me nuts, right? This man says that, so once we realized that he was passed out, you can't wake him up and render aid because you know that sometimes if you wake up somebody when they were passed out or sleeping, they could become more aggressive. So since he was scared, he couldn't wake him up to render aid. This what we saying? Okay.
The level of foolery. But hey, that's his job. You want to pull the straws over the stupidity, if that's what you want to do. But I'm just hoping that the jurors will think like you're thinking, like, I'm highly offended. How stupid do you think I am? I'm just hoping. We can always hope. But we do have a lot in our community who don't believe that justice will be served. This is just a reality for us.
Yeah, and one of our attorney friends that's here, like, I know some attorneys who they can't watch it because especially if they were prosecutors before, they know like what they know the state burdens, they understand all the rules of evidence and trial, and they're like, if I see that they're making a mistake, it's gonna drive me nuts. So again, a lot of people are protecting their energy, and that's why they're not watching. And I have to tell you that Monday morning, was that Monday? No, I don't know what day it is anymore. It's just like this whole, it's just a big stress. But
it's Wednesday.
It might have been last week that I woke up and I just wasn't okay. I was like, I'm not okay. So I called an attorney friend of mine or whatever. And I was like, listen, I'm not okay, because as crazy as this is, like, if they don't get this right, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, they got to get this right. And to me, what getting it right means is that, yes, he had his day in court. Yes, he got to present his defense. But bro, you gotta be found guilty. Like, to me, that's getting it right. And then, like, as I hear of some of the things he did, you know, like the way he handled, the way he kind of delayed George from getting care, the way he misled his supervisor about what was really going on. You know, I'm like, that dude is just dead.
And the level of training he got. He was a trainer himself. Like, it was like, you know better. It's not even about a question if you knew better. It's you know better. Yeah. That wasn't even a question.
And the thing about, like, when they talk about the crowd, right? And you know how a lot of the people that were in the crowd, they just, that was last week. They were talking about how they just feel bad that they didn't do anything, right? And I was just like, they couldn't have done nothing. Because that man, it seemed like though he was going to kill somebody, right? So if the crowd had really tried to come and stop him to help George, I think he would have pulled out his gun or his taser or something like that. And then he would have been like, and that would have probably been justified. Like, he would have probably really got away with, I don't think he's going to get away with this, but hey, I don't know. He would have really gotten away with shooting him if they really came on, because he would have been like, I was an imminent threat, I was in danger, this, that, and he might have shot someone. I just think that man just had his mindset on just, what he did.
I have posted on my Facebook page today, the question I asked was, why is it that my Black skin bothers why do you hate my Black skin so much? Why does the world hate my Black skin so much? And I said, someone other than a Black person give me some insight, because I just, maybe there's something I don't see. I don't know. I want to know, right? And Ms. Roll just said, first, Percy said, it's on video and you can't trust the criminal system when the victim is Black and the killer is a cop. Ms. Rose says, we thought the same thing about Trayvon Martin. Dude followed someone after, told not to, and killed him. But those jurors wanted to find him innocent, right? Then she said, but the difference between this and the Martin case is this prosecution is laying out a great case. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you are a color, right, we have the burden of proof. Even when the burden of proof don't fall on us, we still got to do the burden of proof. Mm-hmm. And
so because Chauvin's thing was like, he was a big dude, like he was 6'1". So we got to prove to this police officer that we're not scary just because we tall, right? Or because we're dark skinned. So now I gotta prove to you that you really shouldn't be scared of me, even though you don't want a taser, a gun, authority, a stick, and 4 other cops with you. But I gotta show you that there's no reason for you to be scared of me when you got all kind of backup. You got 4 other cops. You got a gun, a taser.
4 other cops with guns and tasers. Let's be clear. They got weapons. And
4 other people. But I got to show you that you shouldn't be scared of me because I'm tall and dark skinned. Is that what we're really doing?
That's what we're
doing. Dr. Shawrow made about like Trayvon. I agree with her. The prosecutor in this case, they're really laying out the case. And that's why I think the rules of evidence is very different in Minnesota, because some of the stuff that they seem to be, that they're talking about, and then the defense is also talking about, I'm like, but those issues aren't in dispute. So why are we talking about them, right? But they just talk about everything. I'm like, well, I guess they have to, because in Florida, judges were like, okay, we agree. Move on, next. Like, they really would not have, they would not allow all of this. I mean, they just really wouldn't, right?
Well, and you mentioned something when we spoke last week. You said one of the things you said was, the state needs to put everything out on the table, so there's no way for an appeal or anything like that.
Protecting the right for appeal,
right? So I guess
what I want to say about Trayvon is like I agree with Dr. Shaw. I don't think the prosecutors in that case even believed that case, because remember they sent George Zimmerman back home, right? They weren't even going to arrest him. It wasn't. Right. Was like, what you mean? Like.
Right.
Kid, like, what you talking about? So the police didn't believe in the case. The prosecutors didn't believe in the case. Absolutely. I have some familiarity with Sanford, Florida. That's just different. That part of Florida ain't like South Florida. It's just different, So yeah, I don't think they believed in that case, and that's why we ended up with that particular outcome. It's like they allowed some stuff in that I'm like, y'all let that in? Oh, really? So yeah, that case.
In that case was already doomed before it started.
Pretty much.
It wasn't even, it was just basically they were going through the motions, and we had to do it because it was considered a high profile case. And so we're just going to go ahead and just go through the motions and things. So it was doomed before it started. Yeah. Percy said Chauvin did the same thing to another person, choked them near to death. Yes, he did that to a 14-year-old, Mr. Johnson. And that was during what time, Sandra? And you can tell us why Ms. Klobuchar wasn't VP.
Klobuchar is not the vice president right now because she let that slide. There you go.
It was under her watch, and they never brought him up on charges. Mm-mm. And she let the statute of limitation,
like whatever expired, and they just let it go and didn't do nothing about it.
And so now here we are. Fast forward 3-4 years, and he done killed somebody.
Yep. That's why she's not a VP now.
And he done killed somebody.
I'm gonna withdraw my name from consideration. Yeah, we know.
You need to pull it, sis. You need to pull it. You lucky that's what you did was pull it. Because I'm telling you. Right. I'm just telling you. You let this whole man go away and whatever, and here we are. We fast forward 3 years later, and he done killed a whole person, a whole innocent person, minding his business.
Over a possible fake $20 bill.
Over a funky $20 bill.
Mind you,
so wait, what did we say?
They gave the people the money. They gave him the cigarettes and change. And then afterwards, they come telling him about a fake $20.
And not only that, but let's talk about this funky $20. So they done gave the family $27 million. This case is gonna cost them another what? $30 million? Okay, and you have 3 other officers that got to go to trial too, right? So this effectively is going to cost Minnesota how much? Probably $100 million. Okay, over funky $20. Yeah, that's what we doing.
Over $20.
Oh, okay.
$20. Yep.
Okay.
All this started.
I understand.
Yep.
I understand. All of that over a funky $20.
Mm-hmm.
Over a man who's sitting there, and still we are in the 2nd week of trial, shows no emotion, no remorse. No. I was just doing my job. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. I was just doing my job.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, like, this the other thing the defense attorney is kind of saying through all of his talk, right? He's like, he was just bad at his job. Like, so I mean, he ain't really mean to kill him. It's just that he wasn't trained right, or he wasn't, he might have been bad at his job, but that don't mean that he meant to kill him, or that his behavior was reckless, or, whatever the elements of whatever you trying to
Boy, bye. I can't. I refuse. So a question.
He had to make a split-second decision. I mean, he had 9 minutes to do it, but hey.
Whatever. Mr. Jones asked, did anyone ever officially declare the $20 fake? And Mr. Johnson wants to know, where's the $20 today?
Where is that $20?
Where is the funky $20? Where is the fake $20? And mind you, no, and the answer would be no, not to my knowledge. It was never reported that it was fake. No reports came out that it was fake, not even during this trial. But the question becomes, how does a 19-year-old know what's a fake $20 and what's a real $20?
I mean, he might, because they trained you that. I worked in a grocery store for like 4 hours, and they showed me how to and I only worked 4 hours. I was like, that's...
So if I'm going to cross-examine you, I'm going to say, have you seen a fake bill before? Do you know what a fake bill looks like? What is your experience? How long you been working there? You've been working there 4 days, 4 hours?
4 hours. I didn't.
So how do you know that the $20 bill is fake?
Yeah. No, let me tell you about this, like how that thing played out, right? He gave the man the money. The man gave him the cigarettes. The man gave him change, and he went into his car, and he's sitting there, right? They came back out and said, oh, you gave a fake $20. He said, I'm not going back in there, and I don't blame him, because I don't know if somebody came in there after me or whatever, or you switched out their bills. I don't know nothing about that, but I know when I did my transaction, you gave me my change, you gave me my cigarette, you let me leave the store. Why would I go back in the store and be like, oh yeah, I did give you no one's doing that. And I'm telling you, I think if that had gone to trial, they would not have been able to show that was how you gonna prove that's that same $20. You can't do that. So I really don't blame George for not going back into the store. Now, I think had he known that he was going to lose his life over this foolishness, he would have probably just gone back into the store and take whatever the consequence was going to be for this $20. But he was not wrong in saying, like, I'm not going back in there. I don't know what you're talking about. I gave you money, you gave me cigarettes, and you gave me
Exactly.
I don't know what happened in that store after I left. What are you talking about?
Wait a minute. Carla Cody came and she said, hold on. She said, Sandra, back up. Why 4 hours at the grocery store? But she said also the $20 was determined not to be fake.
Huh?
She said the $20 was determined not to be fake.
Dig that. Okay, so
the whole
grocery store, because that's hard work. I couldn't be on my feet like that. Everything hurt, back, knees, ankles. I was like, how? And then, okay, wait. So I'm gonna tell a little bit about the grocery store thing. So like when you work in the grocery store, so now especially when people come with a whole bunch of stuff, right? So now you gotta like, ring the stuff up, put it in the bag, and there's this thing about like you can't mix the coal with the cans and the this and that.
So you did all that, and you was like, after 4 hours, you said, I can't do it.
Too much. Like when I'm telling you, I was terrible at it, and the people were rude because I wasn't putting things in the bag right. And so I'm like, and I'm getting cussed out. Oh no! So I left. I'm sorry.
So okay, we're getting some more information. So Carla said the $20 was determined not to be fake. Then Dr. Roll said the whole thing about the clerk and the bill is foul. The baby feels guilty as it is. I don't blame him at all. Please move on. We weren't trying to talk bad about the baby. We were just saying. No. I was talking in terms. We weren't talking about. We were just talking in terms of his ability to know the difference, and what the defense was trying to show that he didn't know the difference and all that other stuff. Mr. Jones says, real talk, Chauvin and Big D George knew each other, worked at the same nightclubs as security. I surmise developed a sense of jealousy, something body part envy over white girls. This malice was why Chauvin murdered George, first degree murder. Ms. Roll says the clerk wanted to pay out of his pocket, but his boss told him not to. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, we know that.
She also wants to know who determined that the money was fake, and she said that was fake news. Yeah. Mr. Jones says George was waiting on his cell phone to be repaired. Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
that he was still there.
Mm-hmm. That's why he was waiting. Maybe that's why.
Like when they came to snatch him out of the car, he's like, "What did I do? What did I do?"
CNN reported that it was not fake. Okay, they aren't fake. Where will you be when the verdict is read? Oh, well, Mr. Johnson just asked that question.
So let me tell you. So I've heard. I ain't gonna say I know because I don't know nothing. But I heard that the state of Minnesota already has like 2,500 National Guards there, and they have like 1,500 police officers available for when this verdict. So that just sounds like some Kentucky nonsense to me, right? Remember when they was gonna say that they weren't prosecuting those police officers in the Breonna Taylor case? They had already shut down downtown and boarded up the whole place because they already knew they was coming out with some foolishness. So I hope the reason why Minnesota have 4,000 people that have some law enforcement on the ready ain't because they thinking this about to go away. That's going to be.
I'm just hoping that the mayor of Minnesota has made it clear to the powers that be that Chauvin is the sacrificial lamb, and he needs to just go to jail.
I mean, it's up to the jury to decide like what his outcome going to be. But if there was ever a time to draw a line in the sand about when police conduct was bad, this is it.
You have to pick a side. It's either you agree that he did his job correctly or you don't. It is what it is. It's either you agree it was a cold-blooded murder or it ain't. There's no two ways around that, right? And I got to be careful how I say it. If it doesn't go our way.
Right. James is asking how many jurors does it take not to convict? Only one. And yeah, it's one. They just need
only one. It only takes one. It only takes one. It only takes one. You got one who says no, then it's a hung jury, period. And we got to start this process all over again.
I don't know.
You don't think they're gonna do it again?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. People will know where they were with this verdict. Like everyone, everyone did with OJ. Yeah, but I remember where I was when the OJ verdict came out.
Me too. I was at work.
Me too.
And the break room TV was on. I was working for Sears and Roebuck when it was called Sears and Roebuck back then. The break TV was on, and we were all there we were just biting at the bit, trying to see how that happened.
And the other part of that was that it was like there was a race difference on how people responded to that verdict too, right? Like people were like and other people were like. Different.
Well, this is the same thing here too. I think this is the same thing.
This shouldn't be. This is not one of those situations where this should fall on racial lines. This is strictly about what's right and wrong right here. To me, this is like, there's a right side to this. This ain't one of them ones like, no, there's no on this. To me, there's no fence here. There's no fence. It's like, dude, you're on that guilty side. Period.
I'm just praying that the jury does the right thing, because I'm telling you, Minneapolis, it's not gonna be. And I see why they have who they have over there. I'm just telling you, and not just in Minneapolis, honey.
It's gonna be
this could be global,
it's
right?
Gonna be a problem.
This could be global.
Get that right? It's gonna be a problem. And that's not no threat. That's just like for real.
Yeah. No. That's on. Yeah.
I ain't gonna do that. I don't protest like that. I do other things. So I ain't gonna be out there in no streets doing nothing. So I'm not.
I mean, and let's be clear that that whole department or police thing or whatever was dismantled because they were already under, what was it?
I can't remember the word for it, but some kind of directive, because they already had problems and they weren't doing their job right. So they had like somebody watching and overseeing. There's a word for it. I knew what it was. I can't remember right now. That they already was under something where like they had certain milestones they had to hit. They had to do their work a certain way because they had been screwing up for so long. And then
I think they pulled their accreditation for something, because that happened in Broward too, where they lost their accreditation and they had to gain it back, had certain things to do before they done it. So they were under that already, right? Mm-hmm. And here come Bozo the Clown with his foolery. So I'm just hoping that the jury does right by Minneapolis and by George Floyd and his family, because I'm telling you, it's not going to be safe.
They better get it right. Listen.
I'm just saying it's not going to be safe. I don't think it's going to be safe for us.
Like Chauvin, again, I don't know him either. I mean, but mind you, his wife left him as soon as he got arrested. She was like, I'm out, okay? So the woman that was with him for 10 years was like, I'm not standing by this fool. So please, jurors, whoever, don't stand by this man. Like, that's all I'm gonna tell you. His wife, who took a vow to stay with him, right? She was like, he did what?
Listen, in hell, death do us part, sis.
I'm out, and I'm not posting your bond, and I'm filing for divorce, and keeping the house, all that. Okay, so his wife didn't stand by him. So y'all, please.
They removed the chair for the person who's supposed to come there and be supportive for him. They just moved the chair because ain't nobody there.
No support.
I'm just saying, he don't even have nobody coming to court with him except for his attorney.
I'm saying with that, so jurors, don't get this man no pass. Because to me, he's so ridiculous that he would actually go try to get his job back. Right? Or try to go work somewhere else, right? And we know that the person that killed Philando Castile, the police officer that killed Philando Castile, he like filed his appeal, and because he was, they said it wasn't his fault, whatever, it was within his line of duty, whatever. They had to get that guy back pay. And he got a job with another department. So he got like $48,000 for whatever money.
For killing a whole man for no reason.
And he got a job with another police department. And I know Chauvin's gonna be like, give me all my coins. He's gonna be trying to.
Wait a minute. Percy Johnson said that his wife, Chauvin's wife, is the sister of the Asian American cop on the scene.
Oh, that's why he was standing there looking out for him.
He said the sister or the cousin. Oh. Did she, Mr. Johnson, did she disassociate herself with her cousin or her brother?
She was out. She was through with all of them.
Well, maybe she was. Maybe she was.
And that's probably why he was out there letting the man do whatever nonsense he was doing. Because they all he was crazy.
Tie it back to why elections are important because
these are the people who would decide to prosecute this case. Because we saw what happened in Kentucky. You know, these fools was like, oh, and nothing to see here. You know, it was, mind you, the bullet went through Breonna Taylor's apartment, but it was the next person who the man got charged with doing something in the apartment and the bullet went through her. You know, so it depends on who your elected officials are. And they, you know, they're the ones who get to make these decisions. The AG in Kentucky was elected. The chief of police, sometimes they're appointed by like the mayor or whoever, you know, or the governor, whatever. So it's important who these elected officials are because they make the decisions about who the police chief is going to be. Most jurisdictions, district attorneys, state attorneys are elected, and you want to have somebody who is willing to prosecute cops when cops do bad things, right? Because I'm gonna talk a little bit about Dade County for 1 minute because we have a state attorney in Dade County, and I know her. My cousin worked for her for a very long time, but she don't prosecute cops that do stuff, right? And you know.
She don't. She just don't. Didn't Chauvin vote in Florida? I read that somewhere.
He has a whole house in Florida. I think he's a resident of the state of Florida.
Sure is, but he works in Minneapolis.
Yeah, he does.
Let me see. Are the other 4 officers any less guilty? So the other 3 officers are not any less guilty.
It was holding
because they were supposed to. They didn't render aid. They didn't. You know, they didn't. They knew that he was in distress, and I'm gonna say yes, they knew. They were sitting on it. And so that's why they've been charged as well. So they have a whole case unless they're watching what happens to Chauvin. Depending on what happens to Chauvin, then they can make a decision if they want to take a plea deal or not. Yeah. I suggest they do because I don't want to go through this again.
You don't want to embarrass your family like that. You don't. And James says Reno didn't prosecute either, but she got child support for everybody, James. Janet Reno got all them ladies child support. So she did something. I never filed for child support in Dade County, so it ain't helped me, but I'm just saying. So Janet Reno did something.
He said BS. She Dr. Rose said, I'm good with comments, but I need you to source this stuff because we shouldn't be spreading things that may be false. So
$20 bill, I don't know.
I'm not sure about the $20 bill. Miss Cody stated that it was on CNN. We will look for it and post it. As far as everybody's asking questions or putting in their opinion. So let's just put a disclaimer. This is opinion based. There's no, we're not fact checking anyone.
Fake or not, they still gave him the cigarettes and gave him change and let him leave that store. So once he left that store, I'm just saying, like, had they
and throughout the course of the
he was hard to prosecute.
Well, and then throughout the course of the trial, we also learned that this was not even a felony. Yeah, this was not even, you are supposed to get a civil citation for something.
Not supposed to. They have the discretion to not arrest. And they could have decided not to take him to jail for that. Part of that because it's such a minor offense and
true.
They was running with no mask on, so I don't know.
I'm just saying. I listen. All I know is that this was clearly excessive force. Mm-hmm. This was clearly, in my opinion, murder. Only because if you watch the video, and now we had footage that we hadn't even seen before, which was their body cam. You can clearly see through and it was excruciating too. That's why that whole week we were like drained. You're supposed to render aid. If you are here to serve and protect and care for. And if someone's crying out to you saying, I can't breathe, can you at least give me some space to get off my back, get off my neck? You're supposed to adjust yourself, even when you're trying to restrain someone. Mm-hmm. And this man continued that posture and leaned into it on several different times in the video.
And they said he was supposed to put him on the side. Like he was not supposed to even be on his chest. So
I don't even know what to say.
At the very least,
I don't even know what to say.
I think he put him on the side when he already had no pulse. But
You mean that 5 little second video that he was trying to show that he did? He said he was on the shoulder, that one?
Thigh on the neck, not his
whatever.
neck. Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, that sounds like he knew better and he chose not to do better. So,
well,
yeah. All righty.
I'm just saying, it is what it is. You can either accept it or you don't. For me, that's murder. He's a murderer, and I think he should be guilty on all 3 counts, not just one. I think that they need to be served stacked and consecutively. He can appeal how he want to appeal, but you're gonna be just serving your time consecutively. Yep. Like you should not see the light of day.
Remand him to custody as soon as the guilty verdict comes in.
Right then and there. Put your stuff in affairs. I mean, because right after it happened, his whole police association raised $1 million for his defense.
I know they regret that now because I don't think they saw all that.
I don't know. I think he still got some friends.
I think
he still got some friends.
I think they do. Because it's one thing to be like, you know what? Because I understand cops. The job is tough. You know, you got to make quick decisions on and on and on. I don't think they saw them angles. Once they saw them angles, they were like, but dude was lit for like 5 minutes and he was still on him. How you explain that part? How do you explain that part? Like, I don't know.
And listen, and every expert that's come thus far, the paramedics, the physician, they all was like, paramedics was like, I thought it was when I saw it, it looked like a dead body to me. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, you know.
And he said he held his head because he didn't think he could control his neck by himself. So how a grown man can't control his own neck? We've been there 5 minutes. I'm just
saying. Let's read the last couple of comments there, and then we're gonna shut this down.
All right, Carla Cody was defending the 305.
So wait, Mr. Jones says Reno also didn't prosecute the resist at good old boy roundup in the 90s, who included Mark Furman after the OJ trial, the same officer who found the bloody gloves after all other missed it. After 23 years in federal service, the same good old boys were, in my humble opinion, of the same cloth as those who staged the January 6th coup. So let's not let Reno and Clinton off the hook. Oh, well, all right then, sir. Miss Cody says Reno was very involved in the Black community, even prior to and after the Arthur McDuffie riots. I know this firsthand because my mom worked for 25 years for the Community Action Agency that was in direct contact and watched all of our community leaders from Dewey Knight to Athalia Range interact with her. Just saying.
Athalia Range, yeah.
Hope I said that correctly. James responded to Carla. Love you, Carla, but Reno didn't prosecute the racists in Florida, nor as a federal attorney general. And she says, love you too, James, and we can go all day long.
Yeah. You know, when I say, and I didn't say Reno was perfect. I just said she got child support for all the chicks. And you see, he say she didn't do that because she did do that.
Oh wow! Listen,
yeah, you know, but you know, the George Floyd situation is that was a reckoning. So for like all those Americans who said, you know, because I ain't finna call nobody out by no racial nothing. I'm just saying all those Americans who said that they didn't know, now you know, right? You can't say you don't know no more. Now you know. So get it right. Now you know better. You got to do better. That's all I gotta say.
It is what it is.
It is.
Nobody changing that. It is what it is.
And then next week we'll find out. I think we find out tomorrow if the guy that was in the car with George Floyd have to testify because he does.
Oh, right, because he pleaded the fifth.
He said he gonna plead the fifth if you ask him his name. I don't think he said that part, but he basically said he gonna plead the fifth to every question that they ask him because if he answers anything, it can incriminate him in case the state.
Right. And what irritates me is the judge has the audacity to say that at some point he may have him, you know, testify, or he's going to hold him in contempt. I'm like, whoa.
He has the defense writing down the list of questions that he want to ask, and if he thinks that those aren't things that would put him in any jeopardy of possibly being charged with any offense, he's going to ask him to come and testify to those things, and then if he chooses not to, he may hold him in contempt. That's a bully move to me, but okay.
It is a bully move. That's why you have
to. If I was that guy, you know what I think? If he knows what I think I know, he would be like, go ahead. That contempt charge is better than a possible third-degree murder charge. So hold me in contempt all day, Judge. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm just saying. It is a bully move. I think the judge needs to rein in his discretion and make sure he's doing something fair and impartial. Because according to this United States, justice is supposed to be blind. Yeah. So if it's blind, it needs to be done right.
Leave that guy alone, because that guy got some other problems in his future. So
next week we're gonna have a very hot, a very hot conversation next week. It's gonna be a little hot under the collar. But I suggest you all come to see it because it's gonna be a little.
And I think we can say who it is because the person has already confirmed.
Okay.
We have a man by the name of Mario Hood that's gonna come and talk to us next week. Because this is Autism Awareness Month. Mental health is important. Who we put in positions are important, right? Because we elected some folks that's supposed to be protecting, the children of Broward County, and they may not be. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have a conversation about that next week. So tune in.
We're gonna have and
it's more of that To America stuff. It's more of that.
It's more of the To America stuff. It can get heated, and depending on who shows up on the show next week. But I encourage you all to come. It's really important that you get to hear this gentleman speak. And as to what happened, there is. Should we say about or we should just talk about it?
Let him tell it, but it's definitely, stay tuned. Come next week. Is that Two Americas? It's happening in Broward County Public Schools.
Right. And Kay will be on next week, and she will be very pivotal to this conversation. But we want you to join. It's super, super important that you join in, you tune in. And I don't know, we may even have people come on who are participants in the background and let you guys chime in. Instead of chiming in by typing, you can probably chime in by talking. So we might do that. That's how good and juicy it's gonna be. So I suggest y'all jump in.
I appreciate
Listen, the murderer Chauvin is guilty, and I hope they hang him. Okay.
All right. So my final thoughts is it's time to be on the right side of history. That's all I'm gonna say. It's time to be on the right side of history in all aspects.
In all aspects, okay? And our people, listen, we can have a great discourse, but not to the point where we start to kind of mess each other up, right? So I see something going on.
No, they're
friends. Oh, good. Well, right on.
That's my family-in-law.
Okay, right on.
They're good.
Okay, good. All right. So my final thought is, please continue to wear your mask. So we have a variant that's out there. Florida is high in the number. Florida, California, and then there's a Midwestern state that's high.
Texas and Michigan.
Oh, yes, Michigan, right. So, but the highest numbers are in Florida, California, and Michigan. That's where the highest numbers. Yeah, but there's another one that they found, and they call it double mutation because there's two kinds of COVID variant in one thing. So please, even if you've gotten your vaccinations, just know that these vaccinations are for the original COVID, not for the variant. So continue to wear your mask, continue to do your social distancing, continue washing your hands, carry your hand sanitizers,
alcohol wipes,
all of that, because we're still in danger of, this could come out of control again and we would have to shut down. So listen, we're trying to get back open. We're trying to do our things, but we have to do our part too. So, protect the other ones out there, even if they don't want to protect you, right? So we're going to try to do that. And, stay tuned to next week. Next week is going to be hot. So I need you all to come in and discuss. Again, we'll discuss on how to let people come in and have, their say. But it's really, really important because this is about kids. Yep. So that's my pet peeve. And that's Sandra's pet peeve.
And so James said it best. He said DeSantis should be charged with human rights abuses for his COVID nonsense.
Absolutely, James. Yes, he do. He need to be in charge, because the shenanigans, I'm not taking no COVID passport, open up the beaches, we don't care about this, that foolery. And we're now like the highest number in the variant.
And so the 5 states that Narnique talked about, they account for half of the whole COVID cases that happened last week in the United States. Half was those 5 states.
And we number 1.
The other 43 or whatever, I can't do no math, 45 states had like half the numbers, but 5 of the states had half of the cases that were reported last week.
I just, he got to go. 2022, this time is up. I can't take it no more. I can't do it. This level of irresponsibility is ridiculous.
I'm even calling on some of the people that ran last time to come on and just run again. You might win.
Yeah, because I'll vote for him again.
Listen,
Gillum, you can come on back. Andrew, and somebody know Andrew. Can y'all reach out to Andrew for me, please? Can you please tell Andrew that?
Forgive you, brother. Just come on.
That's nothing to forgive. That's your life, Andrew. Do you like it? I love it.
You know, we got, you know, a lot of us got personal lives that just
we have. That's your business. It's your business. I'm gonna need you to come on back, Andrew. I'm gonna need you to come on back, make this road, make this right. Okay. And if we can't get you, Andrew, can you talk to
somebody you know that got some sense and just tell them come on.
I mean, get some of them sisters to come on and just come on here and just relieve us. Yeah. Please just relieve us, because we can't take it no more. We got rid of one. We need to get rid of the other 2. I'm just saying. And Matt Getz, if you're listening, sir, okay, you're 30 something, sir. You're a whole grown man. Okay. That's a baby, sir. 17 is a baby, sir. Okay, that's not a woman. That's a child, sir. Okay, if you don't know what the difference is, I'm here to tell you, sir. Sir. I'm gonna need you to kind of fall back, and you might want to resign, sir.
His days are number 2. His days are number 2.
I just want you to know, sir, that's inappropriate. Okay, she's a whole 17.
Yeah,
right? and you traveling with her over state lines, sir.
With fake IDs.
Sir, I'm gonna need you to just resign, sir. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So if somebody know Matt Getz, can you just let him know that we're not here for the shenanigans and your false narrative of somebody trying to extort you. Sir, where's the money, sir? How much money you got, sir? Okay. I
think his fiance, at least her brother rich. She might be too. I don't know.
He has a whole fiance. He's sleeping around. He being a whole whore.
He got a whole fiance. Yep.
Okay, the fiance. I don't know what your name is, sis, but you might want.
We ain't gonna talk about the person's business. So yeah. So hopefully he's gone. Yeah, like that's gonna be another open seat. I need y'all to go ahead and win that one too.
Right.
But all right, everybody. Sandra Sheffner, President Democratic Women's Club of Greater Broward and host of Race and the Races. Thank you for joining us today.
All right, Narnique Grant signing off. We'll see you guys next week. Remember, it's going to be a good show.
Be a candidate in 2022 also.
Listen, if I can get the coalition behind me, I will surely run for you all, because I'm all about being a servant. I need to get my coalition up, honey. Yeah. So let's see if James and Percy and Carla get all these people together. All right. So
Percy.
All them people. So we'll see you all next week. Love you, miss you. We mean it. And we'll chat next time. All right.
Yeah, some people talking about vote for Sandra. No, Sandra not doing that.
I say vote for Sandra. Vote for Sandra.
I ain't about that life.
Sandra for president. I'm about that life. You're not about that life? You about that life.
I'm not.
You'll be great.
No way.
All right. We might get Sandra to run for that seat.
No, I'll be cussing people out. All I'll have is viral videos of me using profanity. It'll be one long beep. People who know me know my mouth is foul. They know
the people need that. They need somebody gonna be assertive.
And I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm not exercising the right level of decorum on the Senate floor. Yeah, no, y'all don't want me out there representing.
Hey, Omar, Representative Hardy was using decorum.
And I'll be rolling my eyes. Listen, they'll take my whole check with just fines alone, because I'm gonna be out there rolling my eyes at the people like, are y'all for real? Get out of here.
I can't keep my face right. I'm like, Yeah, you know me. I'll be sucking my teeth and get up and walk away. So, you just gonna
I'm
cut me?
like this, or I done turned my back. I'm like down the hall.
I get up and slam the thing on the table. Like you don't get to talk to me like that. How about that? Well, don't represent me.
I'll be like, time out. Like, what you doing? Where this energy coming from?
Or your responses won't be with decorum. Like for me, I'd have been like, oh, so that's what we're doing today? Because I match energy.
Oh, no, I'll be like, well, we're not doing that today. That's what I'll be like. We are not doing that today. Okay? We're not doing that today.
All right, guys. So we're gonna let it go. We're gonna talk to you all next week. We appreciate you coming and hanging out and asking all these questions. We love the back and forth, even if it's not something we agree with. But we good with conversation. It's all good.
That $20. What was the?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna confirm that information. I'm gonna confirm that information and bring it back because Miss Cody's been watching it like we've been watching it. So there might be some merit to what she's saying. So we're gonna go check that out.
Clarify.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night now. Yeah. Enjoy.
Okay.